All right, so a lot of times people are asking me, like, what are all the steps involved in concrete polishing? So what I did is I put up a visual so I can go through each step in the concrete polishing process. And so what I'm going to show you today is our StrongTread remodel system. So our remodel system is where we're coming into a building, maybe there's carpet or an existing concrete floor or tile, and we're going to take that off, and there's going to be a glue or an adhesive, a residue on the floor, and we're going to polish the floor up to a completed polished concrete surface. So here's a finished job, and I'm going to take you through each step, what we might do as part of that process. So one of the first things we do is there's control joints or cut lines in the concrete, and we're going to fill those with a polyurea type product. Here's a small example of a cartridge. Two components get mixed together in this mixing nozzle, and it cures to like a rubber type product called polyurea, and this goes in the control joints in the concrete surface. After that, we might have something on the surface we need to take off. Maybe it's carpet glue, maybe it's thin set, maybe it's an old epoxy coating. And so we have some specialty tooling that can be used for different surfaces. So these arrow segments work really good for thin set. We have these carpet scrapers, which go on the surface and they scrape carpet glue. And then we also have the medieval bush hammers. So 9 or 18 of these will sit on the top, on the bottom of the machine and roll across the concrete surface, and each one of these spikes dig in. So if we have a hard surface like an epoxy, it actually breaks the epoxy by shattering it. Once we get off whatever's on the surface, we then progressively go through diamond tooling to finish the floor. So here's a 16. Much like sand and wood, we started a low grit and work our way up. So this is a 16, so we're going to go something like a 16 grit, a 30 grit. These look very similar. These are called metal segments. So it's a metal segment with diamonds inside of it. And you can see, maybe you can see some of the shininess on there, but there's diamonds in there, in the metal matrix. And so that's actually what's cutting the concrete. When we open a floor on older or porous concrete floors too, sometimes there's little pinholes everywhere in the surface, not like big patches. Big patches are going to be handled by like a cementitious patch with a primer and a specialty patch product. Sometimes we get little itty bitty pinholes that we need to fill in, and we're going to use something called a grout coat. And so a grout coat is going to be a mixed product that we mix and we trowel it on the surface. So in this instance, we're actually going to hand trowel the whole surface on our hands and knees. Like that, and we're going to actually do that to the whole concrete surface to fill in those pinholes. We're then going to progressively go through more tooling. We have 30s, 100s, and 200s. These have a different matrix as well. The matrix that's holding these in the bond, this is again diamond tooling, but now it's in a ceramic basis. If we want to add color, this is when we're going to add color, which can change the look of concrete surfaces. You know, here's a yellowish orange, a red, and a reactive stain that has more of a natural hue. We're going to move forward after color. We're going to lock that color in. We're getting to what looks like a finished floor at this point, and we're going to add the first sealer we use called a concrete densifier. Concrete densifiers work by soaking into the porous structure of the concrete. So they don't sit on top, they actually soak into the concrete surface, and much like concrete cures through a hydration process or a curing process, this works very similar, but it works just in the top surface layer of the concrete to make the surface harder and denser and stronger. We're then going to continue polishing to refine that surface once it's been densified. Finish it off with a stain guard. The stain guard is what helps water bead up on the surface. If you spill coffee, it gives you time to clean it up before it stains the surface. And then a final thing that's going to give us our shine, a really clean look, is the burnish pads. So all of this tooling is running on the bottom of a big machine. We have a variety of machines, from a small push lawnmower size machine to one that's big enough that you can ride on, that's about 6 foot wide. So depending on the size of the job and what we're doing, depends on what machine we're going to use. But the same process happens. We start with the low grit, we're going to have to fill our joints, we're going to have to patch, we're going to have to take care of some of the details like the small pinhole, and we're going to work with the process all the way up from a start to finish. So in a remodel polished slab, this is all the steps that need to take place to finish that job. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you learned something through this video.